teacher or nurse is a good field to get into for women. When I was growing up, I hated hearing that there were jobs better suited for women. What I hated even more was the encouragement to pursue those professions regardless of where my interest, skill set, or desires resided. Those words, delivered with the best of intentions by adults who thought they were offering practical um, guidance and advice, felt like a cage being built around my future before I'd even had a chance to dream. The frustration wasn't with teaching or nursing themselves. Both are vital, respected professions, right? They require certain skills, dedications, and heart. The problem was the assumption that these were the right options for me, that my gender had already predetermined the shape of my aspirations. Social conditioning is the process by which society shapes our beliefs, behaviors, and expectations through repeated exposure to culture, messages, norms, and practices. It's how we learn the rules of our social world, often without consciously realizing we are being taught. It is society's way of teaching us how to think, act, and see ourselves and others. This happens through direct messages like boys don't cry or girls should be pleasant. Indirect messages, like things that we see through media, family dynamics, school environment, social interactions, and so on. Reinforcement patterns, which behaviors get rewarded, ignored, or discouraged. Institutional structures, like how schools, workplaces, and other organizations are set up and what they prioritize. Social conditioning affects virtually every aspect of our lives: our career aspirations, relationship expectations, ideas about success, beliefs about what is possible for people like us, how we should look and behave, even, and what emotions are acceptable to express. The tricky part is that much of social conditioning feels natural or inevitable because it happens gradually and constantly. We don't usually question why we believe certain things about gender rules, social class, race, age, or other categories. We just absorb these ideas as the way things are. When I think about one of the many reasons why I hated hearing the statement, like teaching or nursing, best professions for girls, um, it was the rigidity, being told this is how things are done. Questioning itself was considered unacceptable, unwelcoming. At some point, I started to question though. I wanted to ask questions. I didn't want to just accept and follow. I didn't want predetermined path or destiny just because of my gender, race, or cultural background that I was born into. I don't want to be told what I should do or how to do what I should do. I want agency. I want to decide. I get to decide. When I have this strong reaction, when something evokes such strong emotions, I dig deep and try to understand what is causing it. I don't want to merely react to things happening around me. I'd rather have the mindset that things are happening around me rather than to me. And I get to have agency over what I do with those things happening around me. Want to be more and more mindful of and aware of the social conditioning that has shaped my narrative, my story, my life, not only for myself, but also for people around me and society in general. And the first step to breaking out of the social conditioning we inherited is awareness. So I ask questions. The first question I ask, and the question that I try to ask most often, is what are the assumptions here? And the following are the subsequent questions that I ask. Is this belief actually true or is it just familiar? What evidence do I have for this belief beyond that's what I was taught? Who benefits when I accept and follow this belief and limitation? And another question I like to entertain is what would someone from 100 years ago or 100 years from now think about this belief and this limitation? As I was purchasing feminine hygiene products recently, I was reminded of those days when I was handed the product in a black plastic bag. All the other products from stores we purchased were packed in either transparent or white plastic bags. The feminine hygiene products were placed in a black bag so that no one could see what was inside. The advertisements for pads used to show blue liquid as opposed to red when demonstrating the absorbing ability. As I was walking out of the store holding the feminine hygiene products in my hands, these days even no plastic bag or no bag is provided in a store, right? So I just holding the feminine hygiene products in my hands, walking out of the store, I couldn't help but laugh, right? Thinking how scandalized I would have felt a few decades ago. Social conditioning doesn't happen in dramatic moments. It happens in everyday conversations, casual observations, and the accumulation of small messages over time, here and there. This means we have countless opportunities to make different choices about what we reinforce and what we challenge. We cannot completely escape the influence of the messages we inherited, but we can become more conscious of what we pass on and how we pass them on. And this might mean examining our own assumptions about what's possible or practical, listening to how we describe different paths and opportunities, noticing whose stories we tell and whose we overlook, questioning whether our realistic advice is actually realistic or just familiar. Breaking free from limiting social conditioning isn't a one time event for sure. It is an ongoing practice of awareness, questioning, and choosing more consciously what we accept, what we pass on. Because the messages we send today will become part of someone else's story about what is possible.